Welcome to Mistro Classroom. Today we will discuss Poem 5, Aunt Jennifer's Tigers by Adrienne Rich. Let's start with the poet. Adrienne Rich was a renowned American poet and feminist who explored gender, identity, and social justice. Her impactful poetry challenged societal norms and advocated for women's rights, establishing her as a significant voice in contemporary literature and feminist thought. Aunt Jennifer's Tigers was published in 1951 and was included in her first published collection of poems, A Change of World. Let's begin with the summarization. In Aunt Jennifer's Tigers, the poet Adrienne Rich describes Aunt Jennifer, an elderly woman who creates a tapestry of tigers. These tigers are strong, fearless, and confident, living in a beautiful green world. They do not fear men, symbolizing freedom and courage. In contrast, Aunt Jennifer herself feels weak and trapped. Her hands shake while she works. Even pulling a needle seems problematic because of the massive weight of her wedding ring, symbolizing her marriage's heavy expectations and control. Although Aunt Jennifer may pass away with her fears and struggles, her tigers, her art, will continue to show strength, freedom, and independence. The poem highlights the contrast between Aunt Jennifer's restricted life and the boldness of her creation. We'll begin with the line-by-line explanation, followed by the context. Aunt Jennifer's tigers prance across the screen, bright topaz denizens of a world of green. They do not fear the men beneath the tree. They pace in sleek chivalric certainty. The tigers are not real but part of Aunt Jennifer's artwork, and they appear lively and energetic, moving proudly. Like topaz, the tigers are bright and golden, living in a green natural world. Denizens mean inhabitants or residents of this green world. These tigers stand out vividly in the greenery with their golden color, like the gemstone topaz, symbolizing a bright, lively environment. The tigers are not afraid of men who may be standing near the trees in the artwork. Unlike Aunt Jennifer, the tigers are bold and unafraid. They do not feel threatened by anyone around them. The tigers walk smoothly and confidently, as if they have a noble or knightly sense of duty. Chivalric certainty means they seem noble and sure of themselves. The tigers move with grace and courage, representing strength, freedom, and a sense of honor. They are unshaken by fear. In this quatrain, the poet contrasts the tigers, symbolizing strength and confidence, with the fear that often characterizes women's experiences in a patriarchal society. The tigers represent freedom and bravery, suggesting that unlike Aunt Jennifer, they do not feel threatened by men. The lines highlight a broader concept of gender roles, illustrating how women can often be made to feel inferior or fearful in the presence of men, while simultaneously longing for the confidence and power symbolized by the tigers. The quatrain underlines the theme of liberation versus oppression. The contrast between her own life and the lives of her tigers hints at Aunt Jennifer's feelings of restriction and longing for strength. Aunt Jennifer's fingers, fluttering through her wool, find even the ivory needle hard to pull. The massive weight of Uncle's wedding band sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hand. Aunt Jennifer's hands are not steady. She seems nervous, tired, or weak while she tries to create her embroidery. She finds it difficult even to pull the needle through the wool. The needle though small and light, feels hard for Aunt Jennifer to use. This suggests that she is physically or emotionally struggling. The wedding ring on her hand feels very heavy to her. Although wedding rings are small and light, this one feels massive and sits heavily on her hand, symbolizing more than just a piece of jewelry. The ring represents the expectations, duties, and restrictions imposed on Aunt Jennifer through her marriage. The weight she feels isn't physical. It's the burden of her husband's control, societal norms, and the pressures of her married life. Adrienne Rich uses the image of the wedding band to show that Aunt Jennifer feels trapped and dominated in her marriage. The ring is a constant reminder of her lack of freedom and her heavy responsibilities as a wife. It symbolizes how the marriage has mastered her, leaving her feeling restricted and weighed down, unable to express herself fully. The second quatrain reveals Aunt Jennifer's struggles and the constraints imposed by her marriage. The fluttering of her fingers reflects her nervousness and discomfort, while the difficulty she experiences with the needle symbolizes her lack of control and agency. The wedding band signifies the societal expectations and the burdens that come with marriage, which can often lead to a loss of identity for women. The lines highlight the theme of female oppression and the emotional weight of traditional gender roles, suggesting that marriage can sometimes restrict a woman's freedom rather than enhance it. When Aunt is dead, her terrified hands will lie, still ringed with ordeals she was mastered by. The tigers in the panel that she made will go on prancing, proud and unafraid. The poet imagines Aunt Jennifer's hands after her death, suggesting that even then her hands may show signs of fear or anxiety from her life. Her hands will remain marked by the struggles she endured in her life. Aunt Jennifer's hands will carry the ring of her marriage and the burdens she faced, showing her marriage and struggles controlled her. The tigers she created in her embroidery panel represent her imagination, courage, and desire for freedom. The tigers will continue to leap proudly and confidently. Even after Aunt Jennifer's death, her tigers will remain strong and fearless, representing freedom and courage. In the concluding quatrain, the poet reflects on Aunt Jennifer's legacy. Even after her death, her hands, marked by fear and struggle, will remain bound by the constraints she faced during her life. The tigers symbolize her enduring spirit and creativity, suggesting that her artistic expression transcends her oppressive reality. The lines hint at the broader concepts of mortality and the enduring nature of art as a form of empowerment. They emphasize the idea that while Aunt Jennifer's life was filled with challenges and limitations, her creative spirit, represented by the tigers, would continue to live on, embodying strength and independence. Let's shift to the analysis of the poem. First, tone of the poem. The poem critiques the oppressive nature of traditional gender roles and marriage. Rich highlights the struggles and limitations faced by Aunt Jennifer, suggesting a sense of disapproval towards the societal expectations that confine women. The poem has a serious and reflective quality, especially when discussing Aunt Jennifer's burdens and the emotional weight of her marriage. Phrases like massive weight and terrified hands convey a sense of sadness and resignation about her situation. Despite the oppressive themes, the depiction of the tigers has an undercurrent of defiance. They symbolize strength, freedom, and the unyielding spirit of Aunt Jennifer's creativity, suggesting that even in the face of oppression, a yearning for independence and empowerment exists. Second is structure. The poem is divided into 3 quatrains, each consisting of 4 lines. This consistent format helps to establish a rhythmic flow, allowing the reader to engage with the poem's themes more easily. The AABB, CCDD, EEFF rhyme scheme creates a musical quality that enhances the poem's lyrical nature. The structured rhyme adds to the poem's aesthetic appeal and reinforces its emotional weight. Third point and analysis is theme. First, gender oppression. The poem highlights the constraints and limitations placed on women by societal expectations, particularly within the institution of marriage. Aunt Jennifer's struggles with her wedding band symbolize the oppressive nature of traditional gender roles, showing how women can feel trapped by their domestic responsibilities. Second, struggle for identity. Aunt Jennifer's anxiety and fear reflect a broader struggle for self-identity among women, who are often defined by their relationships with men. The poem explores the tension between a woman's identity and the roles imposed upon her by society. Third, mortality and legacy. The poem contemplates the nature of life, death, and the lasting impact of one's experiences. Aunt Jennifer's hands, marked by her struggles, remain in death as a testament to her life's challenges. In contrast, the tigers symbolize the enduring spirit of her creativity, suggesting that art can outlive personal suffering. Fourth, artistic expression. The poem illustrates that art serves as a form of resistance against oppression. Aunt Jennifer channels her feelings and desires through her embroidery, suggesting creativity can be a powerful tool for expressing individuality and defiance. Next point and analysis is imagery and symbolism. First, tigers. The tigers in Aunt Jennifer's embroidery symbolize strength, confidence, and freedom. Unlike Aunt Jennifer, who feels oppressed and fearful, the tigers prance proud and unafraid. They represent the qualities she longs to embody but cannot due to societal constraints, highlighting her desire for independence and the courage she wishes she could display. Second, Aunt Jennifer's hands. Aunt Jennifer's hands symbolize her struggles and burdens. Described as terrified, they reflect her anxiety from marriage and societal expectations. The imagery suggests the limitations imposed on women, constrained by the weight of their roles. Third, the wedding band. The massive weight of Uncle's wedding band symbolizes the oppression of marriage. It represents the societal expectations and responsibilities that can lead to a loss of identity and freedom for women, reflecting male control in traditional relationships. Fourth, the ivory needle. The ivory needle Aunt Jennifer struggles with symbolizes the challenges she faces in self-expression. It reflects the intricate work of creating art, serving as a metaphor for the emotional effort needed to navigate her oppressive circumstances. Fifth, embroidery panel. The panel represents Aunt Jennifer's creative expression and attempt to assert her identity. She channels her emotions and desires through her art, expressing her inner strength and resilience. Sixth, death. Death symbolizes the ultimate escape from oppression but raises questions about legacy. Aunt Jennifer's hands will remain ringed with ordeals after her death, indicating that her struggles will persist as a part of her identity. Yet, her tigers continue to prance, symbolizing that her spirit and creativity can transcend her challenges. To summarize the explanation, in Aunt Jennifer's Tigers, Adrienne Rich explores themes of gender oppression, creativity, and identity. The symbolism of tigers, hands, and the wedding band contrasts Aunt Jennifer's constrained life with the freedom she desires. While she faces societal burdens, her art serves as a means of defiance and empowerment. Ultimately, the poem highlights the enduring spirit of creativity, suggesting that one's inner strength can thrive despite life's challenges. This concludes the explanation of Adrienne Rich's Aunt Jennifer's Tigers. Please visit our website www.mistroclassroom.com for summaries, character sketches, themes, vocabulary, MCQs, important passages, and question and answers for Class 12 English chapters or poems, including extract-based questions. Stay tuned. We'll meet again to discuss chapter Going Places by A.R. Button. If you like the content, please press the notification bell, subscribe, like, comment, and share the video. Bye-bye.